Hey guys, Ismael Aziz here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. The point of this video, it doesn't really have a point, and I'm going to explain the reason why it doesn't really have a point. You see, I've been doing YouTube for 1 year now, or maybe a little bit over a year. I've done loads of videos with no structure, trying to figure it out. And honestly, I've got no clue how this works. YouTube, it amazes me. Social media generally amazes me. I'm very good at many things. Social media is not my forte. So I'm going to adjust how I make my YouTube videos and just be more natural off the dome, less structure and just kind of be me. And if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at the end of the day, if I'm uncomfortable being me, then that's perfectly fine. Now, one thing I'd like to note, and it's transparency is key. I'm very good at not giving a fuck. And one of my goals for the YouTube, and it's really difficult to do, and it's one thing that I'm trying to figure out, is how can I show that humans are multifaceted? So in some of my videos, you're gonna see that I'm an asshole, biggest piece of shit. You know, delete that guy, bad human. And in other videos, I'm more relatable, other videos more emotional, other videos more knowledgeable, let's say. And the whole purpose for this is to show that humans have different aspects. As an example, you're watching this now, you've definitely made a joke or two about how if the group chat was leaked, or if people knew how I was in this setting or that setting. And the fact is that us as humans, we are multifaceted. There are parts of us that are very good, there are parts of us that are very bad. There are parts of us that if we reveal to the world, no one would be our friend. And if there are parts of us that people saw how deep the love or the pain went, they would feel something. And one good way to put it, and I'm not calling myself a villain in this, is that if you knew the story of the villain, there's a good chance you may be on the side of the villain. So one thing, I really like theater. Like going to theaters, musicals, I don't know, I like it. I like it very, very much. Fun stories with that one I can share in the future. And there was the Phantom of the Opera. I went to go watch that. And by the halfway mark, I was like, I'm on the side of the fucking evil guy. Like 100% I'm on the side of the evil guy. What the fuck did he do? Like he was the one, as I was watching, I was thinking like, I see his pain. He is not necessarily the good guy, but he's not the bad guy at the same time. And one thing I'd like to do is just show all aspects of it. But now, why do I want to show? It's so that I can potentially help or not help. I don't really care. But on the off chance that I'm able to help, then that's great. Now, help with what? I don't know. All I know is that I live a life that most people don't live. Not truly, most people don't live the life. And it's not even from a point of flexing, it's just verbatim. And at the same time, I live a life that, there are many lives of other people that I don't live, and I recognize that. And it's those that want to go down the path. Now, it's one key thing, it's not to be me. I don't encourage anyone to look at me and try to be me, because that's who I am, not who you are. But then the caveat is you don't want to be the person who says, I wouldn't want to be him anyway. Give an example. I was going out with to some club in London. It's one of the few late night clubs in London. It's relatively private, not many people know. It's not private members, but it's very nice. It's called Scotch of St. James. And I'd gone to the club, went out with one of my guys. Guy's very good at making money, but is he bad with women? And I'm just explaining him just a few things. You have to do this, you have to do that, you have to look at this, look at that, just like going into the psyche of the woman and all this type of stuff. And by the end of it, he's like, you know what, Ishmael, this isn't me. I'm not trying to be you. And then I pinned it on him. I was like, no, that's not true. You can't be me. Now, I wasn't trying to flex. It's like, you don't have the ability to go approach women. Only when you have that ability can you say you don't want to do it. As long as you can't do it, you don't have the right to say that you can't or don't want to be that. It's to the extent that people say, oh, I don't care about money or I don't want to be rich. Motherfucker, be able to make money and then say, I don't want money. Be able to get rich and then say, I don't want to be rich. That is an honorable way to do it. The other way is a cop-out. Maybe you could be, but at least show that you have the capacity, and that's show yourself and show others that you have the capacity to do that thing. Not just gut instinct, I could start a business. Most people can't, right? And then, so it's look at me, and if you like anything, or if you want to learn anything, or if you have these goals and you don't have people relating around, I will try to cover as much of it as possible. And one thing that needs to be understood when it comes to the ability to do business or make money or so on and so forth, what applies to some aspects of your life apply to all some aspects of business. Like, it's very much the same. Who you are in this is who you are in that. Like, people who work with me, the amount of times I reference the relationship or dynamics between man and woman and man in business or person and business, right? Because there's so much overlap. If I'm worried about the judgment of other people in my day-to-day, the likelihood is I'm going to be worried about the judgment of people on a sales call, and then I'm going to be focused on being liked rather than focusing on closing the deal. So there's a lot of aspects to that. So it's showing you as much as I can about myself. And at the end of the day, I don't care if people judge me. So I truly do believe I'm more than comfortable sharing all aspects of my life, whether that's spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, financial. The one thing I won't do with finances is tell anyone how much money I'm making, how much money I have, because I don't care to. Like, that I don't care to do, because I don't want people to judge me just based off that. It's much better to judge the person rather than X, Y, Z, because you don't know how X, Y, Z was garnered. So the next aspect is that I like, when it comes to creating a YouTube, or at the very least in my ignorant mind, you want to do it by having an avatar. And previously I had the Steve, but now I have an avatar. I have a wonderful, retarded 15-year-old cousin who is a special kind of stupid, special kind of confused, special kind of lonely, special kind of misunderstood. I have no idea how I'm going to fully integrate it, because obviously I don't want to just address him. I want to address the viewer, but I want to keep him in mind on what I would recommend for him in order to be the best man that he can be. Obviously, his situation is complicated, and I don't know to what extent he's able to get the right guidance. So I also want to look at it from that point of view. And I also, you see, it's an odd one. You don't want to say to your audience, comment, like, so on and so forth, tell me what you want to watch. Because at the end of the day, you don't know what you want to watch. You just want to be fed information and make sure that the information is good and consistent. Because if you knew what you wanted to watch, you'd already know it to an extent. Or like, if it's something that you'll Google. But how can I ask you for a breakdown on something, like, to give you the breakdown on something you don't yet know? So there's a big learning aspect of that. As an example, when you read a book, you want to find information that you didn't even think you'd find in there. Like, obviously you're searching for one answer or one meaning, but then it goes so much deeper, right? And I'm sure you guys have found that. That's a lie. If you've ever done research, you'd find that. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. Like, I was looking at the stats and all the videos, and I believe the best way is to just be me. And the good thing about being me is not showing you the same character repeatedly. And I'm sure some twats are going to say, but you got to stay consistent for your audience, because they'll like one version of you, but not like another version of you. I don't give a fuck. Like, I genuinely don't. Like, God bless, alhamdulillah, I'm not on YouTube to be monetized. In no country would any brand ever sponsor me. So I'm happy to just produce content just for the sake of it. And if my little cousin is watching this, watch and learn. Absorb and watch on repeat. Not all videos, some are just me having fun, but observe. Because it's important to look at somebody who's able to do that which you are not able to do, and see not so much how they do it. Why did they do it that way? What part of process of thinking did they have to encapsulate that plan or that action? Because it's a combination of different things. It's a combination of a whole story. What I've been able to achieve this week, granted this week's nothing fascinating, but what I've been able to achieve this week is simply a summary of my whole story. As an example, there was a guy that I was speaking to yesterday or 2 days ago. Oh, someone's calling me. There was a person that I was speaking to 2 days ago, give or take, and he had said, yeah, Ismael, I used to think money was easy, but I used to think money was hard to get, but it's actually really easy. And I said, what? Yeah, money's really easy to get. I said, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful to the version of you that worked oh so hard to make the money. Yeah, it's easy for you now. But you didn't look at the whole journey before, because it wasn't you who made you the money now. It's not this version of you. It's a version of you that spent hours not sleeping, hours trying, failing, so on and so forth. It was that version of you that built up this whole momentum that allowed you to be the version that you are now, who's closing, what the fuck is he doing? It's what, right now at $250,000 a year, give or take. And he's young, so looking good for him. It's understanding who is this person? Why do they do this? Why do they do that? Why do they think? And one important thing to look at is questions. Most people don't even know how to have the right questions. I hop into random Zoom calls with people to help on business. By the way, if you ever want that and you're watching these videos, comment down below. I'll give you 30 minutes to an hour of my time at my convenience. Yes? I help these guys out and girls out. And the worst thing is when they come to me with questions and I know the questions are useless. Right? It's where they ask me let's say 3 to 5 questions. And those questions will highlight to them where they're going wrong. And yes, that's amazing questions. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. And they get really happy because they're like, wow, I've gained so much sight, but I know that they're still blind because I know I didn't tell them where to go. Now, it's not out of any malice that I didn't tell them where to go. They didn't ask me the fucking questions. And the way that I do those kind of calls is like, ask me questions. I'll tell you the fucking answers to the best of my capacity. And typically those calls go very, very well. It can be a bit rude sometimes, but other than that, they go very well. It's knowing what to ask, because how you ask a question and the intention behind the question is very, very complicated. And another way to look at it is prayer. I'm going to reference this to prayer because what I'm saying is a bit complicated, so let's make it easy. When you pray, most people, in my humble opinion, pray incorrectly. They say, let's assume that they pray. Like, obviously, if you're an atheist, you're an idiot. Like, genuinely just low IQ individual. Dinosaurs did not exist. But let's say you pray. There will be people who say, my Lord, pray that I pass this exam. Yes? Okay. Often those people also don't revise. And they just rely on the prayers. Why not pray saying, my Lord, make it easy and make it enjoyable for me when I revise? Look at the difference between the two types of prayers. One is saying, let the test be easy, let me pass, and hopes. Or like that's where the mind goes to the prayer. And the other one is, let the revision be easy for me. Let me enjoy my revision. And look at the difference in thinking. Both want the same thing, but look at the difference in thinking and interpreting how something should be, right? And all in all, that's everything for this video. And I would love to show, let me talk on one topic. This is fun, and I hope the fuckface watches the videos. I hope you're watching. Part of the reason that I'm making this video is also because there was an individual, I call him fuckface cunt twat, who he sees me as a narcissist, quote unquote textbook narcissist. And I'm more than happy with that because it shows a blindness. And be careful when you judge people because it shows a blindness to one's nature and a bias that people are often blinded by. Because in this world, we see only partial narratives of a story, or of stories, or of people, or of their characters. Why is this person like this? But you don't know X, Y, Z, right? And I'll give an example. There's this girl that I know, very sweet girl, yeah? She was a stripper. And many people would look to her and judge her and be like, oh my goodness, she was a stripper, yada, 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 yada. But they don't know that her dad killed himself when she was a really young teenager. Like, he committed suicide in not a good way. And for quite a while, everyone had said, oh yeah, he's not here, he's just there, he's so on and so forth. So pretending as though he was alive for her to then find out in a not good way that he had killed himself. And then rumors and speculation, and then judgment from the culture that she lives in. My question to those who judge her, how would you be in her shoes? There's a high chance that she's done better than any one of you guys could. So be careful when judging and be careful when calling names. And I hope this, to an extent, hope is a strong word, maybe it gives people an understanding that it truly doesn't matter. Like, we're all going to die one day. And not in a morbid way. It's the one thing that was promised to us. As soon as you're born, you're promised death. Other than that, nothing really. You're not promised a time. You're not promised a way of life, experience, love, so on and so forth. You are promised death. And I've never cared much for legacy. Why? I don't know. You have to understand that if you don't live the life the way you want without the fear of judgment of other people, you won't live your life. If you care about the thoughts and opinions of other people to too great of an extent, obviously there's the extent where you have to take life into consideration and people into consideration, but if you fear their judgment, and the judgment is all in your head, right, of how they see you, understand you will never take a foot or plant a footstep in the ground that is your own footstep, because all of it is being swayed by other people. And then you must question, do you live your life for yourself, or do you live a life for others to see and approve? And while I am a cunt, while I am disliked by many people, I'd much rather be disliked making mistakes without the fear of judgment of other people in my quest to improve and become excellent than live a life in accordance to what I believe others want me to be like. That's all for this video. For those who watched Hakuna Matata, I'm back. Probably not consistent, but still back. And if you stayed, thumbs up. If you want me to help you out on some business shit, like below. I'm not going to charge you anything. Don't need to. And I'll see you guys in the next video.